Sorry, my nose itched again. All right. Sandau's original complaint asserted a claim for fraud and alleged that the Fenn Estate had intentionally deceived them by purposefully providing numerous false statements of fact over several years. That Sandau's relied on those misrepresentations of fact, and that the Fenn Estate have been, quote, deprived of their rightful... Oh, I'm sorry. Come on, Eric. Wake up. Kyle's original complaint asserted a claim for fraud and alleged that the Fenn Estate had intentionally deceived them by purposefully providing numerous false statements of fact over several years. That plaintiffs relied on these misrepresentations of fact, and that Kyle and his friends had been deprived of their rightful property. They're calling the chest their rightful property. United States Magistrate Judge Jerry H. Ritter notified Kyle that their complaint should be dismissed for failure to state a claim upon which belief can be granted because the vague and conclusory factual allegations failed to plead with sufficient particularity their claim of fraud. In other words, they didn't back it up. Particularity. They were not particular in stating how things actually affected them to be considered fraudulent. It's what a lot of us have been saying. They're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall saying, I think there was fraud. And I think they said things that shouldn't have been said, and they misrepresented things. And you'll hear he went to New Mexico. He blames that on them. But you got to back it up with facts, particulars, evidence. Evidence. Judge Ritter stated, Federal Rule of Civil Procedure states, in alleging fraud or mistake, a party must state with particularity the circumstances constituting fraud or mistake. Front door is open. That can't be good. Hi, Tober. How are you, buddy? Time to go close the door. Who knows? Maybe I'll see the big skink and end up on my hands and knees trying to move a refrigerator or something. This is so stupid. It's just the dumbest thing to have to go through. And it goes on all summer long. Hi, Tober. Hey. Great, you're up here again. Isn't that wonderful? I love my kitties. I love all animals. Even like my fish. I mean, I say even like my fish. Fish don't have, they're kind of simple, but they have, I'm not even going to, they have their own personalities. All right. At a minimum, the judge said, it is required that Kyle, I'm using plaintiff, I'm just saying Kyle, set forth the who, what, when, where, and how of the alleged fraud, and must set forth the time and the date, the place, the contents of the false misrepresentation or the false representation, the identity of the party. I cannot speak. The identity of the party making the false statements and the consequences thereof. Again, you're saying there's been fraud. You're accusing 3 different people of fraud, and you're accusing San Lazaro Holding Company, Shiloh Old, William Bradley Sather, Collected Works Bookstore and Coffee House, and Jonathan Kenneth Stoof. He went after all these people, basically not being able to do much more than say, I believe that I was misguided on purpose and fraudulently, and I don't like it. And that's my court case. The judge further says the elements of fraud include he goes into what fraud is. Misrepresentation of fact, knowledge of the falsity of representation. He's saying this is what you're supposed to be proving the Fenn Estate and Jack and all them did, and you didn't do it. He further says, first, the amended complaint. This is the second part of this because the first one was so lame. They just said, you better go back and come back with a better one before we even continue. And so they came back with this, and they didn't do any better. First, the amended complaint fails to state a claim for fraud based on the alleged acts of Forrest Fenn. While the amended complaint alleges that Fenn made several statements, it does not identify which of those statements were misrepresentations. Duh! You kind of got to point out which things are the misrepresentations. The amended complaint does not state with particularity the circumstances constituting fraud because, for many of the allegations regarding Fenn's statements, it does not identify one or more of the following: the date, the place, the contents. Kyle makes the conclusory allegation that they, quote, have suffered numerous damages as a result of having come to rely on as fact the multiple misrepresentations of the defendants, unquote. But Kyle does not allege with particularity the consequences of their reliance on Fenn's alleged misrepresentations. It just goes on and on like this. It just keeps going on with the judge saying, you make all these statements, you never back it up. That's what he's really saying. Even with the liberal construction afforded pro se plaintiffs, meaning even with us kind of giving them the chance to just expound if they have anything to say, liberally, kind of, okay, we'll look at the big picture of what you're trying to say. Even having done that, the amended complaint by Kyle fails to show that Fenn Estate trips to New Mexico or Jack Stoof or whatever were misrepresentations. What misrepresentations, if any, were relied upon by Kyle, or whether any of the alleged statements were made by Fenn and relied upon by the plaintiffs, Kyle and Dody and whatever the other guy's name is. Who is this other person? Rebecca Kaiser. I don't know. Next. The amended complaint fails to show a claim for fraud against either Shiloh Forrest Old, known as Shiloh, or defendant Jonathan Kenneth Stoof. Shiloh, quote, is the grandson and former trusted confidant of Fenn, and upon information and belief has played an ongoing and very vital and pivotal role to help perpetuate and or cover up the fraudulent ending to the chase. So says Kyle's complaint. Stoof, Kyle says, is the purported finder of the bronze treasure chest containing gold, jewelry, rare artifacts, and other such unknown valuables. Fenn had officially announced on June 6 the chest had been found. 2 days later, plaintiff Sandau saw a news article stating that the Fenn treasure had purportedly been found, but that Fenn had now stated the finder, location, solved to the poem, answers to clues, everything would be kept secret. Yeah, we know that. While the complaint alleges that Shiloh and Stoof made false statements regarding the treasure, the amended complaint does not allege either of these individuals made those statements prior to the discovery of the treasure or that plaintiffs detrimentally relied on those statements. In other words, if none of these statements were made before the treasure chest was found, then how can he say he was misled trying to find the treasure? It's really poor. This is bad. I mean, this is bad. These are people who just, I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know if they just want to be in the limelight, in the little Forrest Fenn world. I call it little because a lot of the country doesn't know or care about Forrest Fenn, believe me. Having been out there, and I've told this in many videos, I've been out there many times, and they don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm looking for Forrest Fenn's treasure. Who's Forrest Fenn? They don't know. I mean, I rarely found anybody that knew what I was talking about. A court further goes on to say, the amended complaint fails to state a claim for fraud against defendant William Bradley Sather. I like this part. Plaintiffs allege that Sather is, quote, the mailing contact for, get this, they didn't even spell a word right in the complaint, separate, S-E-P-R-A-T-E, They had to put the A in there in brackets to show you that they misspelled separate. The mailing contact for separate land owned by defendant San Lazaro Holding Company. Okay, let's get, I screwed up the meter of that. Kyle Sandau and the plaintiffs allege that Sather was known as, quote, Goofy and or Goofy Old Guy from Dale Neitzel's now defunct blog in the Chase. So he was one of the blog users for Dale Neitzel, and he went by the name Goofy and or Goofy Old Guy, and was targeted along with Fenn in the federal undercover Operation Cerberus action investigation and raids of 2006 through 2009 regarding illicit looting and landing and trading of native artifacts. So he's bringing in, Kyle Sandau is now bringing in this old case where the FBI raided some of the art dealers and artifact collectors in Santa Fe for alleged illicit artifact finding and trading. But then the court says, there are no factual allegations that Sather made any misrepresentation of fact with the intent to deceive the plaintiffs, to deceive Kyle, and induce their reliance on such misrepresentations. They go on, additionally, the amended complaint fails to state a claim for fraud against defendant Collected Works bookstore and coffee house. Plaintiff Kyle alleges that Collected Works was, quote, was throughout the chase and still is the sole authorized bookseller for The Thrill of the Chase. There are no factual allegations that Collected Works made any misrepresentation of fact with the intent to deceive the plaintiffs and induce their reliance on such misrepresentations. You know, they're just selling the books. Finally, and this is sad because it's just, I sure wouldn't want to be in court constantly asking the court to kind of follow my fantasy to the point where eventually they say, you know what, you've been in here one too many times. This time we're hitting you with legal fees. Maybe that'll, I don't know what's going to happen. Finally, the amended complaint fails to state a claim for fraud against defendant San Lazaro Holding Company. Plaintiff alleges that San Lazaro, quote, is the legal entity that owns the San Lazaro Pueblo ruins and is part of the ongoing Fenn Estate probate. There are no other factual allegations regarding San Lazaro and thus no allegations that stand an actionable claim against it. And of course, San Lazaro is what Kyle Sandau, used to do his little automobile monologues where he would sit there and read about San Lazaro and read from the books and talk about how much he disliked Forrest Fenn. He's still going after San Lazaro. And the final page is this case is ordered without prejudice. With, I think if I remember from my previous, one of my previous videos, without prejudice means they're just, I think without prejudice means they can do another one. Could be wrong. I'll put a caption and a title in if I'm wrong about that. All right, folks, that's all I got for you. I don't want to find a dead lizard in a couple of days. I hope I find a big skink somehow out where I can grab it and put it outside before these boobs do it. They are just so, God, they're just. Nice talking to you. Tober's laying on my other pair of glasses. Hopefully they aren't broken. Oh, he's got a big, I'll show you Tober to get out of here. And see you guys later. What's going on? Oh, gee, how did I do that? Wait a minute. What was that? What did I just do? I'm still recording. What is going on here? How do you do that? La 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 la. This is so odd. Check it out. You think I'm kidding? Look at this guy. I just caught him. A little tiny lizard. Yeah, a little tiny lizard. There he is. Yeah, see him moving around? I don't know what's going on, folks. Somehow my house has become it's not just, maybe it's a lizard I maybe need to clean up around here or something. This is really, I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of embarrassed, but not really. I mean, there he is. So I'm going to go out to the same place I just let the skink out. I'm going to let this little guy out. Oh, ow. Got Tober boarded up in a room where the litter box is. I got Belle barricaded out on the back porch so she can't get away or get in. And another lizard. There's someone just walked by looking at me like I'm insane. I don't care. There he is. Look at that little guy. He's a little guy. Little tiny guy. All right, we're going right to where the skink was let out. So, next door. Let's see what happens here. Come on, guy. Come out. Yeah, come out. Come out. He really doesn't want to come out. He's kind of like, really? I like it in the jar. Here he goes. Oh my God, I'm letting him out next to a huge bug. There he is. Here goes the little guy. You're free. Run away from bugs. Run away from Belle and Tober. He's fine. He's going to be fine. Oh, he's already looking at that big-ass bug. There's a big-ass bug. Oh my God, he might try to kill the bug or get the bug. Nope, I think he said, you know, that bug's a third as big as I am. All right, folks, this is just, I don't know. I'm sweating, out of breath, trying to catch lizards. Have a good one.